Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Resolve. Last we left off, I believe it had been a slightly shorter stream, since I'd finished up with episode 2. But I didn't necessarily want to get into episode 3 at that time, since it would have been probably too long, so we're doing that now. I checked on the store page. That DLC, it says it looks for. Hello? There it goes. It's apparently just like some extra visual gallery stuff. Like the special contents or whatever. Not sure why that would need to be in the game specifically. Most art book stuff usually just comes as like a separate thing, I think. Let's get into it. Episode 3. Return of the Great Departed Soul.
The grand end of the century Great Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
Oh.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies.
You just... It's very random when things are voiced in this.
And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
What does that mean?
A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location. Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
Uh-huh.
In but a few moments from now, these gentlemen will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air.
I can see how this might kill someone.
To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
This one! Yes! Woo! Yes!
There's no one... Nope.
Please! That's not what I wanted!
22nd of October, 9:36 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Bruno! Bruno, are you listening? Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper! It's full of news about the Great Exhibition today. Again, rather. Yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Early? Did you say something, Iris? Oh gosh, you're even more down. Oh, when did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here, because breakfast. Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see, yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly it can be deduced therefore that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It doesn't just look like a haircut as such, I suppose. It just doesn't look like a haircut. Thanks again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now. 6 months? Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned. Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Ollie? And you say something, Iris. Back to moping. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me. I know! The Great Exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together? I want to, of course I do. But I can't, not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective, after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from? Is that it? I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley. I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Alright. What's up? Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. the secrets. What's found me, the situation is utterly deplorable. That's right, there was like Morse or something on the disc, and they had some kind of secret. And we sure played it to get Morse, but I don't remember if we actually found out what that secret was. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. You have, haven't you, Runo? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your realm, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases. Brewing irises, splash pastoral blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You'll become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically, Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. Lord Strongheart? Oh, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to be the best lawyer I could. And I can't do that just sitting around here. Alright, I suppose that does make sense as for a reason why he would have been banished. I don't remember exactly what those secrets were if we found out precisely, but, you know, whatever. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? Most advanced science, most modern technology, finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching. Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Look down on? Do you mean those things fly? Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky. They don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air. But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all. That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge. I suppose they might be. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are. This is the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. The Great Exhibition newspaper has been entered into the court record. A newspaper containing various articles about the world-leading science and technology on show at the Great Exhibition being held in London. Neat. Shadows cast behind? Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is... Shh!
Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Ali. What do you mean, Iris? Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood. Is it really a case? Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions.
You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes.
Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene.
That was a deep sigh.
Guess I can look around.
I do love a good fire in the colder months. Watching the flames flickering and dancing about is just so very relaxing. Cleaning out the chimney isn't so relaxing, though. No, getting covered in soot isn't my idea of fun. No, Hurley decided he was going to clean it out himself last year. But you can guess what happened, can't you? He got himself stuck inside the flue. He's a very slim man, I admit, but there are limits to where a fully grown man can fit. Now, every time he dozes off by the fire, he has nightmares about it. Yes, the huge metal chests with the lace cloth laid on it being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut. That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases. Yes, so I've been led to believe, though personally I've never actually seen inside. And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me.
There's a very loud car. There's also a train, but that's a bit further away.
If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten. Oh, what? Is there a beast inside there or something?
Let's see.
All these different pieces of evidence from cases that Mr. Sholmes has solved are very interesting. The trouble is, Hurley forgets things so quickly, he never remembers why these things are relevant. The other day, for example, he saw the orange pips that were there and decided to plant them in the garden. Pips? Yes, they've all sprouted now. We have 5 new little plants. Oh, well, I don't know what case they were from, but if Mr. Sholmes can get oranges to grow outside in England, he should change his profession.
Maybe I meant to look at the evidence I was given, and that will prompt some new dialogue.
I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day. Well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice. When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat. That sounds ominous. Yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle. Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. Carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see, especially if it's cut with a rounded top. Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it? Oh, that's the thing. Usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered. Oh. So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case. A proper Sherlock Holmes conundrum, huh?
Some of this dialogue is the same, but I think the one on the
The fireplace had been different. Weird. Let's just check out this paper. See, the Great Exhibition of All Nations. Eyes of the world are on the Crystal Tower. Sure. Every article on the front page is about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's all so positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go to see it properly before too long. Let's see. First test of matter transportation device. Man, something. Whatever. Tower cars, acclaim, industrial revolution. Oh. And a lost cat. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy looking one, that is. Ruffians aim to intimidate a man of justice. Wait, what? What's the matter, Bruno? The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zieks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? Talking about the crime, something set on fire. Something happening in France. Astronomy. All kind of blocked off from my actual view. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Badok Van Zieks. And they say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. London's finest rogues always find the ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hands of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. The leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper. Retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital's a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness! Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition. Oh, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps.
already wanted to go talk to him. May as well just ask while you're there. Well, I must be leaving now.
Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes.
You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow.
What?
You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you'll be wasting your time.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind. But now I'm wondering where you're going.
Well then, see you later indeed.
Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door.
Alright then, Runo, let's get going. That's a new hat.
Oh, Iris, what are you wearing?
I've got change. I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then.
Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course. And after the Supreme Court, we'll go to see the Great Exhibition.
Suppose we'll go then.
New location has been added. Lord Chief Justice's office. The office of Lord Chief Justice Strongheart in Britain's great capital city, London. Its grand stone architecture and the echoey tick of vast cogwheels lend it an air of authority. (22nd of October), British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change. Like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course. I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time you came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan.
I understand you wish to speak with me. I don't remember what exactly sort of voice I had given this guy.
Oh, Lord Strongheart. I trust you've been keeping well?
Let's see. Since you arrived, I requested an audience. In 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space.
At least read a book. Good to know.
Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status.
As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Synopsym.
Oh, I've not heard about that.
Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it.
Right.
As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do. And it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it.
Well, it's nice to know where I stand.
So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about.
Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind, as it happens. Oh no, just take a deep breath and come out with it. I actually came here today to ask for your permission.
Go on.
6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? Here it comes.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role.
Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. And that was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Asagi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him.
His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you? Perhaps you know nothing of his true calling.
Sorry?
The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was?
What do you mean? Mission? It's not making any sense.
Never mind. I've read all the reports you submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions, have been studying a bit, and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions.
Do you mean...
As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful news, Runo.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You will consider it, I hope.
Of course, please, tell me more. You described it as a curious affair.
Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. You're aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday.
Oh, no. Yes, I've heard about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see, how was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think. Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with the click of a fingers? The fingers? No. That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need. A dash of devil may care. Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination.
It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage, and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odi Asman, inventor and a well-known figure in society.
A large explosion? What? A man died?
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow on the charge of murder.
What murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There's very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation.
A great exhibition, scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder. I feel out of my depth before I even started. Still. We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with this German professor. Don't you think? Definitely.
Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, Reaper.
Oh, with Lord Van Zeeks. How?
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. Next month, the largest, most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it?
Exactly. London, global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly. Future of policing. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear, that's alarming.
Exactly. It's extremely alarming. You're yelling. You're bothering this child. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim.
Sorry?
By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now.
What? Oh, fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. I was... We have things to do. You told us to go do something and also be quick. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter. The simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. It is my mission.
Oh, right. Yes, that's wonderful.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be.
Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. It's not her job to pay attention. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful? I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. I wanted to ask about this guy. Can I show you this and ask? Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this?
Reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition, of course.
No, not that. The story on the back page.
What story? Reaper attacked. No, that. Now I can read it. Someone skeleton. What do you mean a skeleton captured a burglar? In Pennsylvania, specifically. Let's see. London's top prosecutor, Barak van Zieks' life came under threat yet again as a group of heavily armed assailants brandishing large knives and pistols ambushed him last night. The sight of the Reaper of the Bailey and his companion valiantly keeping the mob of blackguards at bay was captured by this reporter, who then rushed straight away to the police to report this most heinous of crimes. As host of the Great Exhibition, the City of London can ill afford to have such brutal acts of violence occurring in its streets, and the Lord Chief Justice's office is sure to have a response to this latest incident. Mr. Lord van Zieks and his condition will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Oh, Mr. Reaper, what happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well, if it interests you.
It does, strangely.
Fortunately, Lord van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
It's related to events that occurred a month ago. The leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by van Zieks. The man was acquitted. I have no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money?
Deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting that it was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. It was a man by the name of Assman, Mr. Odie Assman.
Did you say Assman? Isn't that... That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Try me.
Why do you use Lord van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still. Something's clearly going on here.
I had van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. Secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials have nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Zeeks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something.
That meeting has already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh, yes, where would I find Lord Von Zieks now?
I would assume he's at his office.
Right, I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth.
Away with you now, leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord.
We can look around, but it's probably not that distinct.
Cogs of the giant clock are keeping time as usual with their steady rhythmical motion. It's really quite disturbing how little sound they make, considering their massive size. Someone very brilliant must have designed it. Whoever maintains it must be very talented too. But I'm not entirely convinced it's even a clock. What about the huge clock face that forms a window over there? Some people just make machines that move for the fun of it, because they enjoy watching them. I like how Hurley makes his rambling deductions just for the fun of it. Even if the outcome isn't quite right. Never mind all the trouble it gets others into along the way.
New location has been added. The prison and the prosecutor's office. Let's stop at the prison first. "22nd of October, local prison, cell 11.
Warden said cell 11. That's this one. Oh, there's someone caught up in a ball in the back corner. Look. What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain.
Who are you?
I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense
Lawyer.
Was it something I said?
A lawyer, you say?
I need to sort out a voice. He talked earlier.
I don't think his voice was particularly distinctive. Would you be here about the experiments? Are you ready to defend my hypothesis?
Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't...
Yesterday's demonstration. A magnificent demonstration was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity.
Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in that explosion, didn't he?
Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success.
You've lost me.
So with my own eyes, right there in front of me, Mr. Osman's plot was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculation has predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Osman in fact perished.
The machine exploded and Mr. Osman in fact perished.
Yes, I can't deny that, but that part of the experiment was a failure.
So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Osman was an accident, correct?
Well, the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. For that, I wish to be punished at once. But murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident.
I see. Holly and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder. How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds?
Oh yes, it's newly established here in Britain. A special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen.
You'll also go to jail. That's our problem.
The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
I see now. So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes, or rather no. The devil's in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like got matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage, to break those bonds and beam the particles through space.
Maybe you should have tested this with, like, a head of cabbage or something. You know, something that wouldn't be so much of an issue if it were exploded.
That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see. That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in the cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
The next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The world of our vast planet would be within reach.
So, no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days?
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. What? That's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, Ascot Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it. Clearly this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. Without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. That's always a fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. He's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Osmond. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? Let's hear about this victim. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Osmond, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He says he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thank my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then. Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research with the British government. Mr. Osmond provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then, your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Osmond. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Nothing really to show him. I guess we'll leave. Good to know this information. We will go look into things. 22nd of October, Prosecutor's Office. Very fancy. Oops. This game just doesn't have a button to hide the text box. I don't know why. Unless I've just missed it somewhere. Oh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office. Yes, it appears so. Ugh, it sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere. Oh, is that? That hooded figure was so still, I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Ah! It's not this guy, it's someone else. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He is very able in combat, requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage.
Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms.
How's it going? Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack.
True. Carried out by the henchmen of Odiasman's criminal organization. Investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably some hoped to kill me before that happened.
Odiasman.
He always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhanded means, via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances. It was a most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Osman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least. It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, what with you taking on the Professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? I'm going to be defending him.
Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
Albert Harebrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance?
Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We went to university together.
You're... what? I understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though.
Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all.
So, you were students together?
I was in the Faculty of Law, of course. He in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along. I've not met him since my university days. Certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. With you, of all people, representing him.
Ugh. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems.
Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me.
By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends.
We are friends, it's true.
And why would you do this? If the Reaper's the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed. What's Lord Lonzig's thinking? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean
I'm a crown prosecutor, an immortal like any other. No demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
But it's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Jenny. In fact, she's ever so hardworking now.
Can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. The point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It was not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh.
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say?
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I'll adopt it gladly and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed.
That is my fate. Let God decide.
Lord Von Zieks.
I'm going to look at your room now. We're going to see this lovely record player. No? How about your desk?
Lord Von Zieks' desk. Look, it's so stylish. And that's a marble chess set beside it. Chess, that's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it? You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems. Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case. I'd love to challenge Lord Von Zieks sometime. To a bout of shogi problems. If you only really want to challenge yourself, you can always do that on your own at home. Look at that fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles neatly lined up there.
My hallowed bottles, filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the finest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world.
And then you destroy them. And you make a mess of everything. Someone has to clean that up, you know. Shattered glass and wine all over the floor. And yet you throw them around in court like they were worthless.
Yes, who's this imbecile, so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes.
Oh.
Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans whose work you defile.
So, it's my fault? Silly me. How could I have ever thought otherwise? Let's see. Got a nice portrait here, very large. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? It's a very majestic outfit and pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Von Zieks' facial features. Yeah, Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist has exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think. Ah, that reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France orders artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him. How vain. That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it? That portrait does not depict me. Surely that's immediately obvious. Oh, then who is it? A model of the fair. Oh, look! The scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground. That's amazing. I wonder why it's here. Perhaps he made it take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person? Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket.
Surely it's obvious that I'm using it as investigative aid. Napoleons have no business painting others as overly reserved.
Ugh, I really didn't think he'd overhear that.
Some kind of thing? I guess it doesn't matter. Are those bats? Do you have bats in your room? You do.
Ah! They were bats! Yes, the Reaper's familiars, I expect. What about the mute man in the dark cloak? I thought he was the familiar. Just not the flying kind. He must be a dear friend of Mr. Reaper, then. I think the familiar idea is more likely. Scary, though, either way.
Why were there just bats in your room? Those things carry diseases.
Look at all those ancient casks lining the wall there. Casks in the Reaper's chamber. Or like caskets. You don't think all those people who escaped conviction in court are lying inside them dead, do you?
What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of fine vintages.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for clearing that up. Onoa and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper.
I wouldn't if you hadn't invited yourselves to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot.
We did do that.
Hello there.
It really looks like a punishment to me. Just hanging out, writing at a desk. Never seen someone sitting like that before. He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. Do you think perhaps he's dead? If he was dead, Rono, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he? Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's going to talk to us. He's not dead.
Okay, you have fun.
I think I looked at everything.
And I didn't have anything else to say to you. I could show you an object, but all I really have is the paper. Do you want to see the paper?
Lord Funseeks, about the article in this paper.
Oh, yes. Seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It's careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though.
Rest assured, and the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him?
He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Ah, like you out early then, Runo. I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask.
On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right.
You're up. Scary, weird yellow eye.
Ah,
Task is complete. Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
nice to meet you. Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart is strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
Oh, no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to... The way he stood there so casually, with that flawless posture. It couldn't be.
Yes, something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
That Nepalese man, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago. With the stoop, mustache, the jitters.
Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean? I'm not sure I'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
Let's see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating a case.
Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. I never imagined that Mr. Rape would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a ton up for the books. A mad scientist? You mean Professor Harebrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Von Zieks, I think.
Well, see you later. Seems we can't actually head to the fair as of yet. You know this guy.
I understand Lord Von Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days?
Yes, that's right. He was studying law, I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
That's a good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, and all-around nice fellow, really.
Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Bodok von Zieks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Rono. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he's a little darling of the Von Zieks family, with Nol's great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had such noble blood.
Little darling.
It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and not what he'd become. Raper of the Bailey, no less.
Yes, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Von Zieks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct?
As correct as 2 squared is 4, I swear it! Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this, but still. I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life, not in a centillion years. I'm out of science. That's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that all my life.
I'm afraid I don't know much about science, or your theories. But I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please.
When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage. None of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything.
Thank you for that, Professor.
Thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court.
Alright, Bruno. It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition. Sorry? Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate it last.
We'll see you later. A new location has been added. Let's see. Just the stage. Let's go see. October 22nd, the Great Exhibition Grounds, foot of the Crystal Tower.
The showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. I've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now. I felt myself swooning 3 times. There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trodden on 3 times too. Oops, that's the wrong button. Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. Finally made it through the throngs, though, and by the look of it, here we are, underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. Ooh, broke it.
Who's making noises?
What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. It sounds like an argument.
Right, I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you, I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh yeah? Go on, Inspector, give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence and you know it. I know those voices.
You've got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady. But a night in the cells will teach you some manners.
Just try it, I dare ya. You want that bag of chips ran down your throat? Yoo-hoo, Grexy. What are you doing up there?
It's you! Here, you are, your ladyship. How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship.
Does that make her 3 times a lady? I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue.
Unbelievable. I'll have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying eyes kind of no time at all once I pull some strings for you.
Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. There should be.
Watch it, sunshine.
Sorry.
What gives then? Don't tell me you're on this case. Don't tell me you're on this case.
Yes, I'm acting for the defense. So we're here to investigate.
Dear me. That's a situation, is it?
Is it really that troubling? Measly 5 bob, is that all you got? You're a lawyer, ain't you? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naruto. Hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is. I'm gonna have it back when I have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob. This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court. What's your problem, Aldo? Diver? Pickpocket? What's all the name calling? You want a bag of chips running down your throat and all, do ya? I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground. That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Yodo. After years a long time, people can change. I'm an apprentice now, and to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now. Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely.
The inspector part is entirely accurate. No one calls him that. What it's worth anyway, the investigating is off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right, well, I'll be back up top. You'll the fall down here, alright? Right, so...
This raises a lot of questions.
So, how have you been doing? We apparently haven't been keeping in touch.
It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina, in connection with the case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder. I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was, but Davin wasn't working out.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Jenny. Well done.
So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it? Good, isn't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh?
Talk about a sea change.
And then there's Iris' old man to think about.
Iris' father, you mean?
Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull out all the stops looking for him.
Just a small promise then, nothing serious.
Oh, Jenny, you're so sweet. So anyway, that's how come I had to go with the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is, I don't read so well, do I?
Just a small problem, nothing serious.
And that's when Early approached Gregsy and asked him for help. And asked for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Jenny and made her a sort of apprentice.
That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson, and brave.
Well, you know Early. He enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
A great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words.
So, the long and short of it is, if you got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Alright then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
Oh, what, Bruno, what?
Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty. And yet, here she is, still...
Come on! You're not still on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper, whatever it's called. Cool, you don't have to worry, you know?
If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left.
It's like I told you before, isn't it? The Reaper's kind of like him upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside, that I ain't really done nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong might be stretching a point.
What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he?
Oh, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly! So I ain't worried. I'm totally fine. Cole was out of this world, it was. The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine, suddenly started billowing smoke. And then he just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment in it yet.
Sorry?
You mean you saw it, Jenny? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. Boss is in charge here, ain't he? Keeping everything running smooth, I mean.
The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's going to take some getting used to.
So all I have to say is that I'm on duty. And I can do whatever I want to. Get this. I was up in well and flying balloons when it happened, watching from above. No! You're so lucky, Jenny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it. You know how to put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You'd have no trouble at all. Then it's settled. When do I start?
No, you can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Brunnybrain still be claiming that his experiment was a success?
Oh, right. Well, it was a success, in a way. It was. How can it have been? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success.
Like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and that whopping great bang. Oh, where do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the Crystal Tower over there. What? In the tower? Get, like, blasted up there? You can see for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold. Oh, wow, the glass is broken, you mean? Yeah, the cage what the victim got into stall with really did get beamed through the air or whatever and landed all the way over there. So, you see, did kinda work, didn't it? What? I don't believe it. I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it, but anything's possible, right? With science. Oh, I tell you what, you can have this. It's the plan of the experiment they drew up at the yard. Are you sure? Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off here before, so fair's fair. Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? Sketch of the experiment has been etched into the entered into the court record. Etched. Yeah. Terrible chair. Experiment sketch. A diagram showing the relative positions of the Crystal Tower and Professor Harebrain's machine that exploded. Cool. So how's it going? Something Inspector Gregson before seemed a little strange. What it's worth, anyway. Investigating off the cards for all of us. Yes, no, old Gregson ran off after that without explaining himself. Oh, right that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. Oh, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant. In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations? You're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate neither. Why? What's the boss call them again? The forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. But funny, isn't it? So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can't investigate. Yes, I've heard something like that before. I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though, and the boss caught me at it. You probably hadn't given me an earful about it before from down here, didn't you? It's not bleeding fair. I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remembered it. Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips will make him so stubborn. You say something new, Odo. Go on, see if you can get through him. He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where the machine that exploded is. We can try, can't we, Bruno? Craigsy will listen to us. Well, let's take a look around. Getting to the platform is probably a travel function. Or, oh wait, I can look up? Yeah, I guess it's still a travel function because I cannot see up there. So how's this? That's where the cove ended up after his instant kinesis, or whatever they call it. Dead, of course. And yet they're calling the experiment a success? So, what's the wooden scaffold there for? Coppers allowed set that up after the incident happened. To get the body down, I think. I don't know, really. Didn't you help to erect the scaffold then? Nah, lookout duty's more my thing. Wander around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that or he'll give you the boot. It's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged that gap by some sort of invisible kinesis? I'm thinking more the force of the explosion, maybe. Flag, got some balloons. I've been meaning to ask you for a while now, but what are those funny round blobs floating in the sky? Oh, They're the flying balloons I've been talking about. I want to go up in one so much.
I've read about situations like this in a magazine about strange phenomena. Creatures from outer space coming in round flying objects to attack Earth. What? I suppose inhabitants of other planets are bound to be interested in the Great Exhibition. This is it, Iris. It's happening. It's not. Don't worry. I'll explain it all to you later over a cup of tea, Rono. Crystal Tower. It's certainly an apt name. It was built to be the focal point of the exhibition, and it definitely is, being so tall and with all that glass. Can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course, there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo, and a museum. A zoo? But I already have to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest draw. And thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly it's not the Crystal Tower anymore, but the Crystal Glass Shower. Apparently, everyone's taken to the skies now to look down on the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. What's this? Oh, it looks as though somebody's dropped something behind the tree just here. Dropped or hid? Crossbow? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded? Maybe. It could have fallen off the platform. Could have fallen from the platform above in the blast, perhaps. What's going on here? Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this, just in case. A mysterious contraption has been entered into the court record. A very curious device found behind a tree under the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds, almost as if it had been hidden there deliberately. I know. Rubble. For some reason, the ground is damaged in this spot. Look. Almost as if there was a fire here or something. Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash and burnt embers, too. Well, I suppose there was a big explosion just above here. People probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at a small fire like this would have been. I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, you know. Scrap. Oh, look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth. It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. Looks extremely durable. It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing. And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Could that be from a hot air balloon? I've never exactly looked into their construction, but I imagine you'd want something so it would be relatively airtight. Maybe that means it had something to do with the explosion. Let's make a note of it while Jenny's mid-yawn. A piece of green cloth has been entered in the court record. A torn piece of canvas-like material backed with rubber was found under the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. There are scorch marks at the edges. Sign. The platform must have been set up for the experiment, I suppose. It's very high up. About 30 feet above the ground, apparently. That's what a policeman I just spoke to said. I don't really understand feet very well. We don't use them in Japan. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's about 9 meters. But soon you'll be in London a year, Bruno. It's time you got used to our measurements. Yes, well, This thing is so tall, the spectators at the front would just have seen a wall and nothing else. I probably thought they'd secured the best spot to watch from, only to be disappointed. There's a saying in Japan, the darkest spot is right under the lighthouse. I feel like it probably applies here. These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. 22nd of October, the Great Exhibition Grounds Experimentation Stage. You should unplug that thing. It's sparking. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up. I guess it's got its own motor. You should do something to remove the electricity from it so it doesn't kill someone. Again, I guess. Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course! Early's always doing experiments that end in a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. That might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time, he made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. I wish you had been there to see it, Bruno. It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate. Look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, while spying up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. Big Ferris wheel? What is that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, it's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins you can see. Why? Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning, but it looks completely still. It super doesn't. Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go in one, it'd be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Bruno. Got a bunch of stuff on the floor. None of it matters. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently and mercilessly. So, someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed. Not blasted. That's the point. Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris? Oh, Bruno, I'm just a child. How should I know? A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think if you were to pull this lever— Stop! Don't touch that! Yeah. That was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Kegsy. Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. So sorry. I'm gonna have some of my latest special blend to make up for it.
Oh, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful.
It's just like old times, this is. We're representing Professor Harebrained in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene.
Ha! Listen, sunshine. Even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. Plus, it's special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act Blaine. Traveling party.
Oh, yes, the special dispensation. The professor mentioned that too.
Well, red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing out sometimes.
But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Ugh. Surely that's alright, isn't it, Grexy?
Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. But please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, will we, Bruno? She really knows how to get what she wants.
Didn't get a chance to. Ooh. Didn't change the angle.
That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing toward the Crystal Tower. Suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going. I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Bruno. It was set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? So those are people carrying balloons dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly. But I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful floating Tamari handballs. Not quite sure what that is. I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Bruno, please. If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared. Oh well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode. Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. Well, we should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. Touch anything, and I'll make sure I kill you before I get struck myself, you hear? I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims?
He asks, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, Sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleed scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. We can't, can we?
Because of the annoying rules, you mean?
Exactly. The annoying obstructive flaming rules.
Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think.
Weird handle.
Oh, it's a lovely one. The handle is in the shape of a capital letter A. It is. Oh, yes, you're right.
What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything, I'll make sure I kill you before I get struck up myself, I said.
Yes, I understand, sorry. I only touched your teeny weeny bits. But Craigsy, I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really very, very curious.
Of course, your ladyship. So clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. I'm afraid I can't let you have it.
But Bruno found it first.
Sure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly.
He's gone off with it. That was very mean, I'm afraid. Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now. Poor Gregsy. Oh wait, I didn't talk to him.
Oh no, he's still here. Okay, fine. So how's it going? What's up with this?
Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body and then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public.
True, that's by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition, mind.
To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean.
The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. I'm more worried about being ahead of the game than the onslaught of public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see.
Yes, I suppose that's true in a way.
The powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment.
Yeah, but you could have tried this on, like,
something that's not a person. How about a chicken? If you want it to be like an animal.
What sort of rights?
I'm making it so any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were. Right through developing into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch the crime scene. There's a new highfalutin special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it.
I see now.
Only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the Yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard.
The Forensic Investigation Team.
Any old fool can see this heap of scrap metal was sham to begin with. Just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, can't do a flaming thing with it.
Poor Gregsy. He's very head up, isn't he? Train. Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here?
You have it at me, Sunshine. It's a special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
Yes, I think Hurley mentioned that recently. With a real twinkle in his eyes, I remember.
I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Passed especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality.
What does that really mean?
Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Well, a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself.
Thanks for that.
I should make an apple cobbler. I gotta make like a cake on Wednesday. There's a thing happening. I'm gonna need to get more butter for the icing though. We don't have butter just around. I also need to find some almond flavoring for said icing, because theoretically we have some somewhere, so I've been told, but I don't know where it's at. There's a mostly empty bottle, but there's supposed to be one that isn't mostly empty. One that is presumably unopened. And I don't know where it might be. I should check on top of the fridge, maybe.
Oh. It's windy out there.
rattling the storm window.
Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's so fun. It's also fun.
Might be fun to you, but remember the Force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Hang science, that's what I say.
Oh, I don't think so. Sounds like my dream job.
You'd think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers, bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how could anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant.
The scientists get funding.
Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. Who wants to keep them all safe, eh? Who wants to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science, hang it!
Oh, maybe I can see your point. Apparently, Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany now, conducting his research.
That's right. Came back to Britain especially for the Grand Exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government research grants.
Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education. Turns out he was at university with someone we both know.
Changing my seat, but don't fall. Okay, audio's still fine. Shifting the way I'm sitting. I really gotta do something about my headphones. But headphones cost money. I have some decent Bluetooth ones, but I don't have any way to connect a Bluetooth object to my computer. So that's not super helpful. Also, I think the delay would be bad.
Lord Von Zeeks.
What's that? That's news to me. But if Von Zeeks mans the prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is
sealed. Because the Reaper will get him one way or another.
Blimey. That man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zeeks, this morning's paper ran a story of him being attacked. Read that.
Oh, yes, but Mr. Reaper's completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, right. Glad to hear it. Still, Reaper, huh? How long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
The victim of this case, the inventor, Mr. Osman. He was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard.
Lord Bardock Von Zeeks is a top-class prosecutor. But even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scottish Yard suspected Von Zeeks initially. They all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court.
Although the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation. The conclusion we've reached is that Lord Von Zeeks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. Stake my reputation on it, I would.
But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't have just coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know that, but can't explain it. It's mystery, after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said at university, Lord Von Zieks was a totally different person. Easygoing and kind.
What?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
Really?
Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourselves elsewhere? Right. You done here, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
And about time you were leaving, rather. It is about time you were leaving. A lot here now.
A lot?
Forensic investigation team. They'll be giving me the heave-ho in a minute, too.
Oh dear, poor Gregsy. Here, have another cup of my special blend to cheer you up.
Oh, happens smart. Yep, it's in every time.
Well, at least I've seen the scene with my own eyes. It looks like this is as far as we're going to get with our investigations here, at least. I've been thinking. Well, he might know something, mightn't he? About what? About Mr. Reaper. About what happened to Lord Von Zieks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? Yeah, this is what you need. What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madame Tussbells. Is this supposed to mean something to me? You don't know it. It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go now if you like. No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. But that's where Ellie is. What? At this popular London attraction? Yes. How is it that you know where he is? Ellie told me. But he told me to keep it a secret from you, Rona. Madame Tussbells. I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here, but then stranger things have happened, and when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Well, let's... Since we have these, let's take a closer look. Yep, sure is a diagram. This sure does look like a crossbow. Is there a single piece of it I can click open? There's some sort of lever here. There we go. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. The details of the crossbow have been updated in the court record. A weapon found hidden behind a tree in the exhibition stage at the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. Turns out that it's a folding crossbow. Fancy. This groove here must be where arrows are loaded, I suppose. So it's right. It's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. This would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with the bowstring 2 times out of 3. In fact, if I'd had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Kazuma in Kyudo archery training. Got a wind-up bit? Looks like you wind this around in order to draw the bowstring back and create tension. And you must be able to fire arrows with a huge amount of force using this device then. In fact, I would imagine it's far more accurate and powerful than a Japanese longbow. I really had no idea what I was picking up when I spotted this at the exhibition grounds. Oh, the trigger... Doesn't look like there's anything else to it. Sure is a burnt up bit of cloth. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. Never seen anything like it before. But applying Mr. Scholz's methods, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. The charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Alright, goodbye. New location's been added. Museum of interesting waxwork exhibits not far from Baker Street. It's been a very popular London attraction in recent years. (22nd of October), Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks. Ooh. Fun. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. Amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked? Wax models? Ugh. I read about dead bodies and wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called adiposae. Adiposae. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adiposae doesn't form readily, you know. They're very specific. Ah! What now? I just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. Is this what you've been doing? You've been researching, but also you've been reading magazines about cryptids. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them. Oh. There's no way anybody can make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Is this a model? Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxworks models have fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you? Oh no, stop scaring me! Is it a wax arm or a real one? Go touch it, it's fine. Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection! That big heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look? Pay more money to be even more terrified? Ooh, let me think about that for a moment. Plus only a suggestion. Please do not touch the statues. Is this some infamous murderer? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All the victims were young women. I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer. Hell yes. What's the matter, Bruno? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, I don't think it's significant. Why would it be there then? I still think it has to be there for a reason. Okay. What are you doing? These models are so well made. I can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human. Well, maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly stop moving about. Ugh, just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. Oh, that's a funny place for a little ladder. What is it? Something wrong? No, it's just that in Japanese we have a totally different word for a ladder that folds in half like that. We do in English too, you know. A step ladder, just steps. So be careful of making assumptions about other cultures, Bruno. That's how wars are started. I didn't realize step ladders were an international point of contention, but the writer makes an astute point. Okay. Ugh, is this an example of Western tsujigiri? Tsujigiri? What is that? I don't know what that is. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword. I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Bruno? Doing that tsujigiri thing you mentioned. Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. For now. Hi, what are you doing? It's the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Mr. Holmes has his own wax statue in here. Really? Well, he is well famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know! And look, Bruno, you can kick this hell and it doesn't move a muscle. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. And not just a little bit either. Really? Did it? Oh, wait. Really? No, it did it? And look closely. There were beads of sweat on the face. This waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? For there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
Hold it!
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent.
Mr. Sholmes, I knew it.
Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
Temporary waxwork? What do you mean?
And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You wounded me.
But Ron has something he needs to ask you.
Ah, question.
And I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success had been built, would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed. In many ways, the pair of you have just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
Oh, Holly, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? He could know something, it's true, about Lord Von Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? You're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. Most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work.
What, back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? What is this place?
Madame Tuspels came to London from France 3 years ago, as I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London.
There are museums like this in Japan, too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they?
The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tuspels family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine.
Ugh, that sounds grim.
Gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism, and the expressions of the faces of the condemned were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. I thought he was going to keep saying words.
Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the side of the executions. That really turns my stomach.
Well, it's just one of several legends about the Tuspels family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition. But people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the models of them.
Have you heard of poor taste?
My dear fellow, public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
So, the hideous exhibits in here are... They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop?
Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes?
Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act.
Catching them?
Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my handshake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us.
Us? Does he mean the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes?
My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money.
He really forwarded me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors.
As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent. Lots of ravenous iris to consider.
Oh, Ellie, I'm so hungry.
Push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo.
What's he threatening to rope me into now?
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. Choice is yours.
Maybe some other time.
Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark sound a lot like a curse?
Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then?
Actually, it's about Lord Von Zieks.
Ah, friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust.
And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Von Zieks, about Professor Harebrain, about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Von Zieks such a different person. I was sure that you'd know, Early. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot. And that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. What is that?
Oh, someone's like fixing up the gutter outside. Or messing with it or something.
Mr. Sholmes, he suddenly clammed up.
Well, it seems we've reached the unavoided. Greetings. Who's this?
Oh, you're like a witch. How fun. Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? What's she wearing? Does she look any more mysterious?
I hope you'll be appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again.
My apologies. I'm Esmeralda de Tuspos. This is my museum of waxwork.
Well, you're the Madame Tuspels?
Quite young to be so accomplished. Bien sure. Bien sure? Only 26 years young, I might add.
Is that significant somehow?
Madame, name only. That's a certain je ne sais quoi.
Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. She sounds deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord von Zieks now?
Let's not forget what Early said before, about something being afoot, right here in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious! I want to know what's happening here.
We got enough on our plate already. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tuspels?
I did. I'm the third generation of waxwork artisans, you see, you know.
Gosh.
As my grandmother began the tradition of my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Oh, that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeliness.
All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive.
In fact, they look more alive than Early. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the very people in which they are modelled. In the hours immediately following the executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness.
That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things.
What's the situation with that?
Oh, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal?
My dear madame, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's a great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
He is the creme de la creme, so I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services?
For mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Oh, words to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
Oh, words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem. The consulting detective work not going so well. I wonder, could I ask you something?
It's,
I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
whoever suggested such a thing to you?
Oh, well, it was, your temporary waxwork over there mentioned to me a little... Oh, he's disappeared.
Wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade.
There you are.
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madame Tuspel, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. Wax can wait. So ideas about your current problem that we must throw in the melting pot. We must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why not?
She turned as white as a sheet.
Because you have at your disposal a great detective, whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. And please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain? That is the Tuspel special exhibit. There's an extra charge to see it. Oh, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. Must have picked a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Absolutely none! There's nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madame. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a souffle. I don't know what that is. I don't know French. Number 139. Well, I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Tuspel's special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is a portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. seen that guy somewhere?
Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. First is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in the special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand. So, Madame Tuspels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Great deduction. The game is afoot. Waxwork's fate. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money! So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tuspels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 was revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, centerpiece for your special exhibit for the sum of £200. No! Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. This guy on the floor. Who was the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear this man has suffered a severe shock, cause of which is clearly known to you. Fortunately, Madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around in your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of £200. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extraordinary amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us, he collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Oh. Sold for cash. Waxwork location. And the question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. Such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. And it went well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He receives triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with the particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. But you... Got some kind of tag. Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. Notice it at once, of course. Reserve. A telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say. But perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet, you sold it to the portly gent for an exorbitant £200. Sort of plucky behaviour that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame? I do not. Yes, the waxwork you'd sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit. Not a moment too soon. Literally, what would be the crime there? You decided you wanted to charge more for your object? That doesn't make sense. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. I see I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. The cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then the special wax exhibit featured this old policeman. So, that would mean he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
The killer policeman, Otterwald.
Sorry?
It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the aether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Otterwald. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed, it is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
But is £200 a lot of money for a wax model?
It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So, it is quite a lot, then.
Is there anything else you wish to add? For I melt you down.
That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Sholmes did more or less accuse her here to her face, so... I think I might have to call in your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. To make some minor corrections to the Great Detective's great deductions. Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tuspells vents her anger.
Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Tuspells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Course correction. Oh, there's chums. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money! So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tussauds. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 was revealed by that public notice.
She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. But I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for £200. Oh, she must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway, I wonder if the £200 could have some other significance. Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it.
Alright, she was looking over here. Oh. Hello, what's this?
What's that note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh, yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tussauds, we've taken the prisoner from his room. Price for his safe return is £200. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October. What? This is just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. Exactly.
Take that!
The significance of the £200 is revealed by that ransom note.
Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork. £200 is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary then, £200 you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200.
So, if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? I could just ask him when he comes round. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right. Well, he's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tussauds trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around.
Look at her hand.
This is just Madame Tussauds' right hand, isn't it? Yes, it must be. I can clearly see your left hand after all.
Except it's not.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax?
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand.
Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you? A hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand.
And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It's the hand of a waxwork model.
So the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake.
Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back.
And the result? The scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief.
According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard. Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Well, uncovering secrets isn't any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tusble's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' seduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly.
Here's a hand. Oh!
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth, that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model.
I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes.
He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be?
And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were waxwork. Oh, but you! Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it once, of course. Observe. Telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is waxwork is the obvious price tag.
A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Gyarados' delightful lodgings, in fact. So is the special killer taken from the special... So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? Waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for £200. Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole? Really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if another idea crops up.
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch.
Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard.
Slight shift in your choice of objectives, then.
And there you have it. Well, Madam Trustfuls? Adjectives. Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place.
He is clearly fatigued.
He's clearly fatigued and he's sound asleep.
But then, what's that tag about showing a price of 3 pence?
It was part of the scarf, I think. No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there's been just such a criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective. So, it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth.
The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped.
And Scotland Yard are already investigating. The model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Also, you've knocked some guy unconscious for trying to steal things, which is...
it's probably fine.
This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Still a mystery. Deduction complete. Elementary. All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. If anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway, your great deduction was even more enchanting than I'd been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I have no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically it was. And I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. In as much detail as possible, if you please. Very well. But after I've told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish.
Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please.
It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here.
It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed.
And I found a ransom note in its place.
The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose?
A particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor.
Not a name I've heard of.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, seems the circle is complete.
Sorry? The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital.
10 years ago?
Yes, at exactly the time Bardock von Zeeks graduated from university, in fact.
What? Surely he's not saying... So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life.
As you've surmised, it was the Professor case.
Who was this professor, then?
It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. Now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Now, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the induction.
But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord von Zeeks?
You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Ellie?
Those murdered by the Professor, some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of the nobility, even royalty, sent shockwaves through the country's administration.
Members of the wait, of course! What Professor Harebrain said. Lord von Zeeks is from a family with noble blood. Oh gosh!
It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of Clint von Zeeks.
No, I don't believe it, von Zeeks.
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Bardock pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today.
I had no idea Lord von Zeeks had such a tragic past.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter. For the time being, at least. After all, I have work to do. There's a waxwork exhibit. I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well.
Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Windy out there. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. Yeah, figured. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Bardock. It's been 10 years. Here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Osman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes, I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it. I must warn you. Oh, I know, I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Bardock, what, you really... What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't have trusted anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Bardock. Till tomorrow, then. We'll see you in court. To be continued. What perfect timing. It is now a little after 10. Seems like a good place to stop. Whoops. Certainly can't do all the trial. Lollipop, are you knocking things down? It's just an empty bottle, but still. Anyway. So next time we'll do the trial. That will be on Monday. Why is... Oops, that's the wrong button. That's fine. Anyway. Monday, I'll be getting into the trial. We'll see how that goes. We'll get to see more of Von Zeeks. At some point, I should look up the Japanese names of the characters from the other games. Because I do know that Phoenix is something Naruhodo. So I think this is meant to imply that they're related, probably. I don't really know the rest of them. I should look that up. Anyway. Right. On Monday, we'll be back. We'll get into the trial. We'll see how things go. But that is all for now. Have a nice day. Goodbye.